24/7. So this is a class of your most important questions of the accounting subject. So if you're new on the Officers Adda 24/7, hit the subscribe button so that you can get regular update from our side, and download the Adda 24/7 application so that you can get everything at a one place. Okay. So there is a one very important announcement I would like to say here, that our selection batch that is started. So you can enroll for the selection batch, and only one class that has been taken. So this is a very nice opportunity if you are just preparing for the JAIIB examination, because the fresh batch actually started. Okay. So in this batch you are going to get the ebooks, mock tests, live classes, recorded classes, everything you will get in this batch. Okay. So just hurry up and just enroll in this. Okay. And the only thing that you have to require for enrolling, that is Y422. Just apply the code Y422. With this code you are going to get the big discount for enrolling this batch. Okay. That means you are getting this batch at a very minimal price, right? So let's start today's session with the very first question of today, right? So that question is all about the share application chapter. That is a very important, and in your syllabus that is actually in your chapter of the company account 1. Okay. So when we talk about this kind of the questions you will get in the examination, so how to solve this kind of the questions you can understand here. Whenever we talking about like a share capital, okay, the only thing that you have to understand, if you're not aware of any kind of the basic of this chapter, just understand in a very easy way that share capital and all of these are just understandable as an installment. Okay. Suppose that company just want a 10 rupees. Okay. So like in this question, if I say the 3 rupees on the application allotment, 2 rupees on the first call, 2 rupees on the final call, then you can understand the total price, that is 10 rupees. That means all things like the all installment just will go to in the share capital. And when we talk about the application, just understand in this way: application, allotment, first call, second call, then all just understandable as an installment of the share capital. Okay. So suppose that company want this 10 rupees in the installment, so these are considered as an installment of this share capital. Right. Now the question is, as holding 500 shares paid only application and allotment money. Suppose that we are talking about the person that name is a S, and S having the 500 shares. So when I'm saying that S having the 500 shares and paying only application and allotment money, right? Whereas when we talk about the Y having the 400 shares and Y did not pay a final call. Whenever you are getting the term, that is, you can understand the called amount. So you will always understand the called amount that always just occur after the allotment. After the allotment stage, whenever you are talking about any installment, that would be named as a first call or second call. Okay. That depends on the company, that on what basis or on what installment like company just want this 10 rupees, right? So whenever we're talking about the called amount, you have to consider that is the amount of the after the allotment process, right? Now, when we're talking about the S having the 500 shares, Y having the 400 shares, so S only paid the application and allotment money. You can understand here the very important thing, that S having that S is only paid the application and allotment money. That means S only paying the that is 3 on the application, 3 on the allotment, 2 on the first call, and the 2 on the final call, right? So now you can understand a very important thing, that S only paid, like S who is having the 500 shares only paying the application and allotment money. S did not pay the first call and the second call, which is amounting to the 4 rupees. That means S did not pay the 2000 rupees to the companies, okay, for its 500 shares. And when we talk about the Y is having the 400 shares. Now you can understand, if Y holding 400 shares did not pay a final call, what this means, that pay a final call, that means this would considered as a last call. Last call here, this is given the second. Okay. The second call, that is of the 2 rupees, and you can understand Y holding the 400 shares. When we talk about the Y holding the 400 shares, so 400 shares, that would be multiplied with the second and the final call, and that would be equal to the 800 rupees. Okay. So now you will just tell me here that what would be the total call scenario, that you can understand in a very easy way. That means all these amount is actually due on the shareholders. Okay. That means if the shareholders did not provide that, this would be considered as a calls in area. So that would be just going to be credited in the calls in area. So just what would be the amount of this? This amount would be is equal to the 2800. That would be your answer for this question. Just keep it very simple whenever you are just doing the any question. Okay, next question. Authorized capital of the company is divided into 5 lakh shares and 10 rupees each. Whenever you are getting this type of the terms, you can understand like the authorized capital. What should be what? Suppose that if I'm just talking about the authorized capital, so what would be the total authorized capital? You can understand company actually issued the 5 lakh shares and the one share price that is a 10 rupees. That means you can understand company's authorized capital is your equal to the 50 lakh, right? It issued 3 lakh shares and public applied for the 3 lakh 60 shares. So amount of the issued capital, whenever we are talking about the issued capital, then you can understand it is all just respect for the company. That means company issued how many shares. Okay, so this is just equals to like it issued 3 lakh shares, company issued only 3 lakh shares. That means total authorized capital of the company, that is 50 lakh, but company is only issuing the share for the 3 lakh. Okay, that means if I just talking about what is the issued capital, that always considered as for the company, not for the applied shares. Okay, so you can understand for this question what should be your answer. That would be equal to 3 lakh. It would be multiplied by the 10 rupees, because price of the one share that is equal to the 10 rupees. So now you can understand what would be the answer of this. That would be equal to the 30 lakh, right? So this should be your answer for this question. I hope it is understandable. Whenever we are talking about the issued capital, just remember it is all about the that how many shares that is issued by the company. You always remember that. Whenever we are talking about the authorized capital, this is considered as a maximum capital, or say maximum capital for that company can raise the issues, can raise the shares. Okay, can raise the share capital, right? So this you have to understand. Okay, so now I will just say that now the third question what would be here, that if applicants for the 80,000 shares were allotted 60,000 shares on a pro rata basis. Just understand here, whatever the questions I am just explaining, these all are very important from the exam point of view. Okay, just remember that. Now if I say for the third question, if applicant for the 80,000 shares were allotted 60,000 shares on a pro rata basis. Okay, the shareholders who was allotted 1200 shares must have applied for how many shares? You can understand this is a case. You can understand the, like if applicant for the 80,000 shares and the 60,000 shares are allotted only. So you can understand this is a case where you can understand the 60,000 shares allotted while applied, while the applied shares that is a 80,000. Okay, so now you can understand this is a something ratio that is 3 is to 4. So the shareholder who was allotted 1200 shares, so that means that shares must have applied for, that means how many shares, for how many shares the applicant is applied. So you can understand if the value of the 3 is equal to 1200, if the value of the 3 that would be equal to the 1200, then what would be the value of the 4? Then it would be equal to your 1600. And this is how you have to solve the questions in the examination also. I can this is understandable for everyone, because these all type of the questions are a very important for the exam point of view, right? So I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this. Next question. Next question, that is cost of the plant is given, scrap value is given, useful life is given. So what will be the amount of the depreciation according to the sum of year digit method in the first year? Whenever we're talking about the method of the depreciation, that is the sum of year digit method, you always have to understand we just talk about the useful life. Okay, so suppose that we are having the useful life of the 4 years, so start with this. Okay, that means if the useful life is given 4, just start with the 4 3 2 1, that's it. So 4 plus 3 that is 7, 7 plus 2 that is 9, 2 plus 1 that would be the 10. Okay, now just understand a very important thing. This would considered as a first year depreciation, this would be considered as a second year depreciation, this would be considered as a third year depreciation, while this would considered as a fourth year depreciation. Now what would be the question of this? The question is for the first year depreciation. So this would considered as a first year depreciation. So you will just write that is 4 and it is divided by the total value whatever the look what's the method name, that is a sum of year digit. That means the total sum of year digit method, total of the sum of year digit you have to divide here. So that means 4 divided by the 10 multiplied by total cost of the asset minus scrap value. Okay, this is how you have to solve the questions in the examination also, right? So if I just write here that is 4 by 10 would be multiplied by the total cost. So suppose that the in the question that is given the cost of the plant, installation cost, carriage inward, that all kind of the expenses given. So you always have to understand that you have to just write there that is a total asset. Okay, so I will just write here that is a total asset, or sorry, total cost of the asset, right? Total cost of the asset, that is a total cost. So whenever you are just solving the question of the depreciation, you always have to understand you are just going to derive the value for the total cost. Okay, so now if I talk about the total cost, then it would be equal to, it is only given here that is a 4 lakh, and it would be just subtracted to the your 40,000, that is a scrap value is given. So just right here, so this would become the 3,60,000 and would be multiplied by the 4 by 10. So this value will become your 1,44,000, right? So this would be your answer for this question. This is how you have to calculate. Suppose that question would be just like for this, you have to find out the for the second year. So like for the second year, you can understand we have to just same way you have to do the question. That would be the 3 by 10 multi, and this is just understandable as the amount of the depreciation. Okay, so you have to be very aware that what kind of the questions is actually asked, that is about the amount of the depreciation or that is about the amount of the plant. Okay, so that you have to understand in a very fine way, right? I am hoping that you all are just understanding this. Next question, just do the next question here, that how to solve this question in the examination. That listen, in this question it is given that the very important thing it is given here, that the salaries paid 4,500 is shown in the credit side of the trial balance. Okay, so whenever we're talking about that salaries paid 4,500 shown in the credit side of the trial balance, the very important thing you have to know about that what component you actually keep under the debit side and what components you actually keep under the credit side. Okay, so like on the debit side we actually keep all the assets, all the expenses we keep on the debit side, and all the liabilities, all the income, all the gains we actually keep on the credit side, right? So whenever we talk about the salaries paid, you can understand whenever we're talking about the salaries paid, it is a kind of the expense. So whenever we talk about the expenses, that comes on which place, on the debit or the credit side? That on the credit side. Okay, on the debit side. Okay, on the debit side. If I'm talking about the expenses, that would come under the debit side. So what should be like, how do you should just record this transaction, that is 4,500 on the debit side you have to post. But by mistake what you done, by mistake you actually credited that this is a 4,500. Now if I just talk you about that, in the total of the trial balance the debit side will be short by how many amounts. Okay, so now you can understand that if I talk about that like the total of the trial balance, the debit side will be short by how many amounts, you can understand that 9,000, because first 4,500 that we have to just understand, because this 4,500 is actually create the difference of the 9,000, because it is just opposite on the credit side. You can understand it is also in the another way, that if I have to rectify this entry, like for that what I have to do, I have to first credit that 4,500 for nullify this mistake, for nullify this 4,500 mistake. Okay, after that what I want, that I want this 4,500 on the debit side. That means again I have to just debit the 4,500. That means it is a total error of the 9,000 rupees. So you can understand the question here, that the debit side will be short by the 9,000 rupees. That would be your answer for this question. Okay, I hope it is understandable for everyone. Next question. The part of the capital which is uncalled capital of the company and can be called up only in the event of its winding up of a company is called what? Okay. So you can understand the part, that part of the capital which is uncalled capital and can be called up only in the event of when the company is going to wind up its business. You can understand the correct answer of this, that is a reserve capital. Okay, so reserve capital, that would be the correct answer for this question. This is a very important thing you have to understand. So the reserve capital is the part of the capital which is called the uncalled capital of the company and can be called up only in the event of its winding up of the business. Okay, so this is known as a last part of the question. Next question. A book in which cash balance and the bank balance are simultaneously maintained is known as, when we talk about the cash book, so you will just read, there are basically four type of the cash books, like the simple, okay, single, double, triple, okay, and the petty cash book. So when we talk about the cash book, you can understand the very first thing that whenever we're talking about that cash balance and the bank balance, that just simultaneously you are just maintaining, that means the correct answer of this, that is a double column cash book. In the double column cash book, you can understand the cash, like the cash account as well as the bank account, both are maintained in the double column cash book. This is a very important thing you have to understand. Whenever we are talking about the like the single column cash book, you can understand it is a type of the simple cash book where we are just going to record cash account only cash account transactions. Okay, so in the simple or the in the single or you can see in the single column cash book, we are only talking about the cash account transaction. When we talk about the double column, you will introduce another column that is for the bank account. So the correct answer for this is a double column cash book. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone is understanding this. Next question. Mr. X has the following assets and the liabilities that is given on the 31st March and ascertain his capital. That means you have to find out here the capital for the Mr. X, right? I am hoping that everyone is just understanding this session. So you have to find out the capital for the Mr. X, right? So the given of the followings are given. So you have to understand in a very good way that what are the assets here and what are the liabilities here. Okay, so for calculating the capital, you can understand the formula is a total asset is equal to total liabilities plus your capital. Okay, that is capital. Now you can understand if I have to find out the total asset here. So if I just say here cash would be considered as your, look, the very first thing that I am just deriving here the total asset value. So the value of the cash, that would be your 50,000, right? Bank balance also 95,000 would be added here. Debtors always considered as an asset for the company, so this would also add here, that is 36,000. Creditors, that is kind of the liabilities. Okay, plant and machinery, so whenever we talk about the plant and machinery, that also just going to add here, that is 1,60,000. Okay, building also the asset for the company, that would be equal to the 4 lakh. Furniture, that would also just add here with the 48,000. This is also the asset. Bills receivable, the very important term I would like to tell you here, that whenever you are just watching this term, that is trade receivable, you have to understand we are talking about the debtors as well as a bills receivable. Okay, so debtor and bills receivable both understandable as an asset for the company. So this would also add here 1,13,000. Now the bills payable, the liabilities that are given here. Now what we have to do, we have to just add here, just try to give me answer of this, that what will be the value of this. Just let me add here. So 50,000 here, just a minute. 50,000 plus 95,000 plus 36,000 plus 1,60,000 plus 4 lakh given plus 48,000 plus 1,13,000. So that would be equal to your 9,02,000. Okay, so this would be value of the total asset here. If I talk about the total liability, so we just write here cash, bank, debtor, okay, creditors value, that is given the 44,000 plus plant and machinery or asset, building asset, furniture asset, bills receivable asset, bills payable, okay, that is given the 47,000. So this would become your 91,000. Okay, so if I have to find out the capital here, so the total asset value I have the 9,02,000 minus 91,000, that is the total liability value. So if from here I can just derive the value of the capital, that is something your 8,01,000, right? What would be your value? Let me just clarify this. 9,02,000 minus 91,000, yes, that would be value 8,10,000. That would be your value for this question. Now you can understand that how quickly we can just derive the answer if we having the correct approach. Okay, so like you have to understand the creditors and the debtor always considered as an asset for the company, creditors always considered as a liability for the company, right? Next question. The laser folio column of the journal is used to, whenever we talking about the laser folio, you have to understand the laser folio is nothing but the page number. Okay, so we like the record the page number of the laser account, the fourth option is given, so you have to just mark this option. Another options you can read here, the record the date, record the number of the laser account, record the number of the amount. You only have to understand, whenever you finding the term that is laser folio, you have to understand it is all about the page number of the laser account. And whenever you are finding the term that is a laser, you have to understand the classifying phase of the accounting is actually used in the laser. That means when we talk about the laser, you have to understand we are talking about the particular group. Suppose that we are talking about the cash account, we are talking about the purchase account, we are talking about the sale account. That means we having the particular account for transferring the transactions, okay, in the particular account. Suppose that we having a lot of cash transactions, so we will just record in the cash account. So laser folio is just a page number for that laser account. Okay, so that you have to understand. The last answer, that would be the correct answer for this question. Okay, next question. A company's current ratio is given here, that is 3 is to 1. Current liabilities are given, inventories are given, prepaid expenses are given, its liquid asset would be, you have to find out. The very important thing you have to understand, there is a difference between the liquidity ratio as and liquid. Whenever you are finding the term liquid, you have to understand the question is about the quick. Okay, whenever you are finding the liquidity, you have to talking about the current ratio and the quick ratio, right? So now the correct answer of this, that you have to find out here the liquid asset. That means you have to find out the value of the quick asset here. So very first thing that you have to do always, like the company's current ratio is given, that means the very first thing that you will write here, current ratio is equal to current asset, current liability, that would be equal to 3 is to 1. Now you can understand the current liabilities value is provided, that is 2,50,000. So if I just write here like the current liabilities value 2,50,000, so that would become your 7,50,000, the value of the current asset. Now the inventory is given and prepaid expenses are given. Now you can understand how quickly we can just solve the questions in the examination easy if we are just good with our concepts. Okay, because concept stays there but the question changes. Okay, so if we having the current asset value, that is 7,50,000, and we know that quick asset is all about like that it is necessary that all quick asset would equal to your current asset, but it is not necessary that all current asset would be your quick asset. Okay, that means I'm just saying this thing, that suppose that this is our current asset value and this is our quick asset. Okay, so I'm just saying that all quick asset necessarily be the current asset, but it is not necessary that all quick asset your current quick asset, all current asset would be your quick asset. No, this is not necessary. So that means you have to understand the current assets we actually calculated, and if I subtract the inventory, prepaid expenses from here, so you can understand we actually derive the quick asset. because inventories and the prepaid expenses both only the current asset, not the quick asset. So if I have to find out the quick asset value, I can easily just find out here. That would be 7,50,000 minus inventory, that is giving the 60,000 plus 5,000. So that would be equal to your 7,50,000 minus 65,000. And now just tell me what would be the value of this. That is 7,50,000 minus 65,000. So the value you will get here, that is 6,85,000. That would be your value for this question. Okay, so this is how you have to solve the questions. I hope you all just understood this session in a very nice way. And if you just like this, like our effort, like our content, do not forget to hit the like button on this video. Now I just want to tell you that the bilingual as well as the English medium courses that available for your JIB examination. And the very important thing I would like to tell you here, that how you can enroll in our selection batch, okay, and individual batches also. I will just explain you the very important thing here. Look, if I talk about this, you have to first visit the adda247.com. After that, you have to go to the JIB CIB section. Okay, in the JIB CIB section, you can enroll for the JIB. Okay, now, when I talk about that, the very important thing, there are there are different batches that is running, and you can enroll for any kind of the batches that actually you just want. Okay, so if I just talk about selection batch, I'm just talking about this is for the English medium and this is for the bilingual. Okay, so this is only depends on you, and if you just want to enroll for the individual batches, you can also enroll that by the view all option. Okay, and here you will find the all the batches, all the batches you will see here. Okay, if I talk about the English selection batch for the English medium, you have to go to the selection batch of the English medium, and here you will get all the information related to your this batch. Okay, so you will get the mock test, video lectures, ebooks, like the 65 hours live classes, all things you will get here. Okay, as well as you will get the study plan also. So what thing you have to do, you have just do not have to pay all the amount. Okay, you only have to go to the buy now section, and on the buy now section you have to write the code, that is Y422. Okay, so you have to just apply the code, that is Y422, and with this code you can get like the very big discount on this batch. You can see you are getting the flat 77% off by this code, that is Y422. Okay, so I'm hoping that you just understanding that how you can just enroll in our batches. And this is a last opportunity you all are getting for a fresh batch. And with this batch, we guarantee your selection. Okay, so that means it means something, right? So when we talk about that, that you only have to use the code Y422 for the bilingual as well as the English medium batches, as well as you can enroll for the test packs. When we talk about the test pack, so you can just enroll for the, you can enroll with the code, that is Y422, or you can also apply the code Y422 and just apply the S after the Y422. Okay, so you can just see that which code is just using for your test packs. Okay, so you will get the 17% off for the test packs, and this is also very important because if you're giving the examination, you can understand the importance of the test is a very important, the importance of the mock test is a very important. Okay, so I am hoping that everyone just understood this session, and thanks for watching me here, and like this video if you liking our effort, liking our